Now, Israel's military had been due to hold a briefing shortly on the Gaza medics killed by Israeli forces back in March. So as reports emerged that autopsies on the bodies have confirmed that they were shot in the head and chest. At the last minute, though, with the IDF saying the briefing postponed due to scheduling issues. It's the third time, in fact, that they've put it off. Now, the incident remains highly controversial. Israel has admitted its troops opened fire on two convoys of ambulances in Rafah last month and dug a mass grave to cover the bodies of those killed until the corpses were found by a UN team 6 days later. Israel had initially said the unmarked vehicles approached suspiciously, but video later emerged of the vehicles clearly labelled as humanitarian with their emergency lights flashing. Well, we're going to cross live then to Jerusalem, speak to our correspondent Noga Tarnopolsky, who joins us from there. Noga, the briefing then, I mean, it was set to shed more light here on what exactly happened.
That's right, Stuart. Good morning. We're still expecting to be debriefed by the Israeli army at some point. And in fact, the person who is set to brief the media is a very, very senior general. It's not a normal debrief this time. But one has to hope that these several postponements indicate that the Israeli army is aware of how much is at stake. Let's go back to the beginning of this story. March 23, the first reports we heard were the 15 paramedics had vanished. Very mysterious report. And since then, as you described, an unfolding story of the death, the killings by IDF forces of these paramedics. One of them, by the way, is still unaccounted for, apparently taken alive or arrested by the Israeli army, but we've had no confirmation from them, just the Palestinian Red Crescent Society that has said so. In any event, the Israeli army line about this terrible incident has been disproved now by a series of different media investigations that have taken place in the almost month that has, passed since the event occurred. And so it may be that the Israeli army is still trying to catch up with investigations undertaken by foreign media organizations. We don't know. But either way, the Israeli army at some point in the coming days is both going to have to explain from its point of view what happened. How did these paramedics end up dead and buried and hidden? It's going to have to explain its initial false statement that these ambulances were not identified, didn't have lights on. It's going to have to explain something it never has, which is to this day, the army maintains that at least 6 of these 15 paramedics were actually terrorists. And yet the army has brought no evidence, not even described any evidence. Were any of them armed? Were any of them not in uniform? So there's a lot to explain. A lot is at stake. And in the case of this incident, we are very, very close to a prima facie war crime. And if the army finds itself unable to clearly and convincingly explain what happened, it will raise questions, I think, about the entire IDF PR that we have seen unfold since the beginning of this war 18 months ago.
Noga, it comes as well, doesn't it, as Israel's defence minister has said troops will remain in what he called so-called security zones in the Gaza Strip, Lebanon as well, and Syria indefinitely.
That's right. I mean, this is significant on many levels. The Lebanese government obviously disapproves, the new Syrian government and all of the countries that are trying to help support a new Syrian government, such as Turkey, and Lebanon also disapprove. Israel's opportunistic takeover of swaths of Syria is, on the one hand, it's understood as a strategic need to protect Israel in a way it hasn't been protected in the area of the Golan Heights before, but on the other hand, is really completely unfounded in any actual current security needs. Israel has not been attacked from Syria or by the new Syrian forces in any way. Regarding Gaza, this statement is most worrisome by the defense minister, because what he said, in fact, is that no matter what ceasefire deal Israel may sign, no matter what agreement it is presented with, that nothing will impact the Israeli decision to remain permanently in vast swaths of Gazan territory. In a way, this seems to obviate any chance of any real deal because neither Egypt, that borders Gaza on the south, nor Hamas, that has to be a signatory to any deal, are going to accept this sort of Israeli statement.
Noga, thanks very much. Noga Tarnopolsky, our correspondent, joining us live there from Jerusalem.